drawing stool has started to squeak a lot, and it is really annoying. Anyways, my name is Jasmine. I'm an illustrator working on a medieval comic. Welcome to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to document the process of drawing the beginning of the last scene of chapter 4. There are 15 pages left of this chapter, so there are micro scenes left to draw, but those micro scenes are all in one big chunk of time called a medieval Christmas festive scene. I want to say feast, but food itself is not really going to be displayed in the scene, so festivity should work just fine. Why did I want to document this? Because I haven't filmed a drawing vlog in a little bit, and I figured documenting how I freaking figure out how to draw all of these setup scenes might be interesting. Well, that's it. So here's page 31. So everything in brown or yellow has been drawn. The rest is what's left. In the previous scene of page 31, we have the main characters walking through the castle grounds while the festivities are being set up. So the decorations are being set up, especially like here. You can tell that there's like a village lady, pine vine over the stairs. There's banners over here. So the next scene is the actual Christmas party. These are my thumbnails. And here's what I plan to draw in those empty panels. It's gonna be the church bell. What's in pink is the actual castle. So we're gonna see the castle from far away, which is actually kind of rare in the entire comic. So I'm glad to have a chance to draw the castle. This one's gonna be interesting to draw because it'll be a lot of people partying with the decorations. And that's when we start a scene with Catherine and Alice talking. So this page is establishing that there's a Christmas party going on. And here I wrote close-ups of festivity. Wine pouring, laughing, ball playing. So these are the little slices of life, little panels to focus on, which would be these. So that's what I'm going to be working on for this video. That's a lot of work. So come along and let's do this together. It's 4:15 in the afternoon. I went to day job and I had lunch. In an hour, I'll be going to the gym with my mom, so I don't have a lot of time left. I just had time to film this intro and start my research on what the church is going to look like because it's going to be full front and center in the next panel. I need to do some research. This is my pot of coffee, and this is what I'm going to drink right now. This is all the coffee I'm going to drink today. I'm going to have to figure out how to add some kind of oil lubricant to it because this is unacceptable. It's Tuesday, 7 in the morning. I don't have day job because I'm technically on jury duty this week. So every day I have to check in to see if I have to report to court, which means I need to make sure that my day job shifts are covered in the case that I have to go to court. No day job today. I will do my best to be as productive today as I can, starting with turning on the camera. That intro that you watched was over a week ago. Yeah. I have been struggling hard on working on this project. I have absolutely no motivation. I don't care. I just don't care. There are obvious reasons for that. I haven't quite figured out all of them. It makes getting through difficult sections in the story to draw really hard for me to sit down and do them. Where do I get the motivation to push through this discomfort when I don't care? So that's been my struggle. It's only been a week. I make it sound like it's been forever. No, it's only been a week. But for me, that's really weird. And I don't like it. Now, should you be worried? No. I'm gonna get back to this. We're gonna get this done. There really are only 15 pages left of this project. Like, look at this. I'm way past halfway done. This chapter is going to be finished. It's just gonna take a little longer than I had planned. I did do some progress. I just didn't film it because that was the other thing. I did not feel like filming at all. You did miss a few things, but I'm gonna show you what I managed to do. If you recall, this panel was empty and now it's being filled in with this village scene. Back here is going to be the castle. The first hard step in getting this panel done was figuring out what the church looked like. This church is going to be featured in another very important scene more at the end of the story. It is important that I design the church at some point in my development of the project, so I'm glad that's done with. But what about the actual village? Would I make up what the village looks like just to get this scene? No. If you know me by now, I'm not gonna make up anything. I'm gonna make sure that it's supposed to represent what it's supposed to represent. After I designed the church, I had to design the village. This is the app magic pose, and using basic cubes, I was able to 3D model the village. What's in red is the castle, so that's the distance that people have to walk to get to the castle from the village. Church is in orange. What's yellow are the gates, the security gates to get into the village, and then what's in different colors, and bright different colors, so the pinks and the reds, those are going to be important spots in the story later. And when I mean later, I mean like tons of scenes later, almost at the end of the story. Did I have to do this whole village just to get this one panel? No, I didn't have to, but eventually this is going to be useful. I don't feel like this was completely useless work, especially since I was struggling to get any drawing done. This was helping me continue that rhythm of productivity in order to eventually get to the most important part, which is the drawing part. If you're wondering how I got the village floor plan figured out, a few years ago when I was writing the scenes where those buildings were going to be used, I had already mapped out what the village floor plan was going to look like, just not in 3D form. I did vlog that portion too. I will link it up here or in the description of when I was figuring out what that village would look like. So it's kind of cool that a few years later, here I am 3D modeling that work that I already had done. This is the piece of paper where I was figuring out the village 4 years ago. Isn't that crazy? 4 years ago I was writing this story. Anyways, that's the church. And then these are all the characters and in the different scenes, and then here I drew the path that they were gonna make. This is an action scene, so I needed to figure out where everyone was in the choreography of how that scene developed, right? These buildings are important because Catherine and Alice go in there and fight. Yeah, Edward and Rodrigo are up here eventually, but the story starts up here and then they disperse. There's a tavern scene. This is to denote a fight sequence happens here, but they enter the tavern, and the tavern is right here, which is right here, this pink building. I did do some things last week. I did not feel like filming. I'm just glad that I got it done, and I gotta continue to draw this difficult scene. 1-hour timer just went off, so I need to go get breakfast, but I wanted to show you where I'm at. This section is what's left, and I started to draw the vineyards in the background, and I think the perspective is off. So I'm gonna have to be very careful with the rest of this section here. Just going crazy over the catnip. Well, I finished eating breakfast. I don't want to change until I shower, so I'm gonna put in 1 more hour of drawing before I fully change out of PJs. And we're back to this problem right here. I'm going to use my mini sketchbook to try to fill in that space in here and see if that's gonna work. Okay, so I tried to work it out in the notebook, but couldn't get into it. So I used a more transparent piece of paper and tried to draw the landscape further above the panel to help me draw the perspective a little bit better. So that's what we got. Done with that panel. Wow. I'm not crazy about it. I think I'm gonna have to still fix it around digitally, but it's done. That's really all that matters. It took more than a week to do this panel. Incredible. It's been 45 minutes, but I think like a good 15 minutes was distracted on my phone. I'm trying to reduce distractions, but I got sucked in. I don't even remember why I got into my phone. But with that said, I'm going to shower and finally change out of PJs.
Your call is very important. You may continue to hold, or if you prefer, we can call you back. Available representative.
Call me back. I'm trying to make an appointment with a dermatologist because my face growing these red patches that are very itchy around my mouth and my left eye. That's why I'm trying not to wear makeup either, because it's going to make it worse. I've been a little bit in denial about it being a problem. I keep thinking, oh, it'll go away. It's not going away. In fact, it's getting worse. I just put some hydrocortisone. Hopefully that will help with some of the inflammation, but I do not need this right now. It is now 2:30. My, is this day flying. It's the next day. I'm not wearing makeup, so my face is quite patchy and oily from the hydrocortisone. I have an appointment next week, so hopefully this doesn't get worse before then. It's 11 in the morning. I've been doing tons of admin computer work. I just finished having breakfast, so I'm gonna jump into drawing, but I wanted to show you what I got from an art store a couple of days ago. I haven't taken the stuff out because I wanted to show you first, so let's do that. The art store is Blue Rooster. I met up with a friend and we walked around that area, and I haven't been to this art store in a while. These are the few things that I got. My dad is picking up watercolor, so I figured I'd get him a little watercolor pad he can practice on. And of course, I had to get an eraser. I love the shape. It reminds me of my favorite Japanese eraser for comic book artists. It was only $2, so not a bad little way to experiment. I got another eraser, but this one has a sharpener too. So I'm going to be using this for traveling. This is the sharpener side and the eraser side. And it's a pretty good eraser. Love the color. And for $6, it'll go perfectly in my sketching kit. And last but not least, another Tombow eraser that I've never seen. It's got the full eraser in the barrel, so it's not different components, it's one big eraser. I did try it out. It's pretty stable inside the barrel, so it's not going to be wiggling around when you're erasing. I haven't seen this one yet, so for another $2 or $3, I got it as an addition to my eraser collection. I do have a long eraser pen. It's from Pentel. It's called the Click Eraser, and you can tell they're different sizes, so I can get into details in this one. I also have, it's from Tombow, the Mono Zero. I use this to get into the really small details. In addition, I have this one because it's rectangle, so I can get into edges, like comic panel edges, really well. I try not to use these too much though, because the refills are kind of expensive for what they are. So that's why I'm glad I got this one, because that means I'll use this one more than this one, and I won't have to buy as many refills. Here's the full family. As for my big fat eraser, I love using the Pentel polymer eraser. So I'm gonna try this one for now and see what a triangle eraser feels like. I have one already, the Japanese one, but because it's so precious, I don't want to use it. So instead I'm gonna try using this one. I'll put this one to the side. Okay, so to return to this, I'm gonna work on this next panel. This panel. A full shot of the castle. And I have to make sure that I show that it's cloudy. This is what the undersketch looks like. And this is what I managed to transfer, which is not a lot. Special lotions for now. Good. Good morning. It's the next day. It's Thursday. I got up at 7, had breakfast, washed the dishes. It's 8:13 in the morning. I want to finish this page today. I've been telling myself that every day, but today feels like actually achievable. I don't have any errands and not too many chores to do in the apartment. So today is the day. Today has to be the day. I washed my face with that new boring soap, and I put on the boring morning lotion with sunscreen. For me to go down to just face wash and lotion is criminal. Maybe that's why I'm here. Maybe my face is no longer having it. I want to live more simply. It seems like I don't have a choice now. It's that time of the month as well for me, which means heating pad at all times. But yeah, got my coffee. We're ready to go. We're gonna do this. The next panel is, actually the next couple of panels are just going to be scenes of the festivity inside the castle. So the first one is people pouring wine from this giant wine jug, whatever you would call that, barrel. I drew this from memory. I need to look up reference images to draw this more accurately. This is actually a really nice image. You get really crisp details of these objects. I've been trying to figure out those spigots. This is not the barrel where you drink the wine, this is the barrel where they're gonna crush the grapes. But these spigots, I see them in a bunch of wine barrels. So I've been trying to figure out how they work. Do you pull it out and it's a hole and then the liquid goes through, or do you push something there? And so I don't know. It's important for me to find that out because here they're actually pouring it. Would he pull that spigot out? Here's an example to the time period. No spigot there. I'm assuming she pulled it out and then the stream of the wine comes out. I don't know why it says vinegar origins. Could that be vinegar or is it wine? Just somebody put the wrong title. This one I think is beer because of the stein there. And look how complicated that spigot looks. I think I'm just gonna go for the hole. The other important detail is to see how these barrels are put on the ground. I keep seeing these blocks of wood and most of these guys are sitting down to do the pouring. There's the spigot and the hole, but that doesn't look like they're pouring wine. I don't know what that is. Here's the full image. Oh, it could be wine because he's clamoring for it. It's a weird color for wine. Maybe it's mead and they're getting the last bit of it too. That's why they look like fiends. I'm gonna use this one. I don't really know what's going on with the barrels there. The green rope, or I've never seen that before, but the pose and everything, that looks similar to this. So I just need to rearrange the guy. Instead of playing videos in the background, I'm going to be listening to this new audiobook. I started it yesterday while doing some chores. I'm on chapter 6, only 17%. Playing the videos sometimes works, and other times I get extremely distracted and I waste half an hour here, half an hour there. It is very annoying.
A few nights danced, strangers with happy eyes, but I liked dancing with diviners best. Hands, skirts, bare feet, the thumb. You're wildly intimidating. All right, what's recommendations? I say you cannot keep your footing against 3 assaults. If you can, I'll have...
I'm gonna make some tea using this new tea. I got the Lover's flavor, which has hibiscus, cinnamon, damiana root, roses, shatavari root, maca, lavender. Really what got me was the lavender, the maca, and the vanilla. I don't have a special yummy tea. This was a treat. Every little bit counts. Then of course I have my sidecar of hot water so I can get a refill pretty quickly. I love the color. And now for the next panel. So they're playing ball. Hopefully that's obvious. I still need to draw the sound effects because there's people laughing and being merry. And then we've got this big one, which is just as difficult as that one. I'm gonna go have lunch and then we will tackle that panel. I already had lunch. This is dessert. Mango with yogurt. It's 2 o'clock and I have to tackle this panel. I have one vanishing point figured out. And it seems like I drew that, so I can probably deduce that it's somewhere over here, the second one. What I want to be extra careful with this panel is to show the specific parts of this scene that will make it feel festive. So that means the banners are gonna go down here, fluttering. We're gonna have people dancing over here, people eating here, which would be that. And then we're gonna have people here like Henry and Boniface sitting down over here. So there are different parts that will be important that I need to feature in here. Alright, this is the progress so far. I don't know if these 2 vanishing points is working because these 2 towers are technically the same height, but this one looks shorter because it's following that vanishing point. It just looks off. Yeah, that looks off too. I wanted to get these buildings right before I added all the details at the bottom of the people. But it's almost to the point where maybe I should do the people first and then the buildings, because the people is gonna give me more information on how these buildings are supposed to look like. But I don't know. It's looking weird. You can tell I had the same issue in the undersketch. This looked significantly shorter than that. Just don't know why that looks strange.
Being so human, but never you, Six. Stalwart, uncombined. The stories you tell of the things you and the other diviners will do, will understand better than the rest. You kill him, she said to the gargoyles, until the night swallowed her, and bring her to the spring. I dove for the keys in the bat-like gargoyle's hands. Middle of the story anymore. Please. All right, fine, just stop shouting. I tried to reach for them, but stone arms locked around my middle, pingled me up, stretched crack, rolled like thunder, went to me, breathing hard. I let go of his hair in. The bat-like gargoyle was there, singing to himself as he followed us from above. He must have sensed I was no longer directly behind him, because he turned. He could not tell, but he was looking directly into my eyes.
I got a floor grid. Is it an accurate floor grid? I still don't know, but this will help me ground all the figures on here. The next challenge is going to be the size of the humans. I did put that there, but I made these size before I had the buildings. So now the buildings are going to tell me how big the humans should be. It's going to be the foreground characters that I need to be careful of not making them either too big or too small.
The fixed greatest willful virtue was that she refused to be right.
The other thing I need to remember is silhouette shapes. Shapes. It is all about shape language, but I'm really bad at that because I'm more focusing on portraying a realistic scene rather than the shapes of that scene, if that makes sense. So for example, these two people dancing isn't really working in this composition because they're creating like a V shape and interfering with the silhouette of these two musicians. So I can probably fix this bottom part so that's not competing with their fingers. But what I'm really trying to do is have figures here, have another half circle here, and then people here that's dark. So that the eye jumps like this, boom, boom. I don't think these arms outstretched is bad. I need to figure out what to do with this bottom area. Hello. Yes, it is the next day. I did not finish. By 6 o'clock, I had to prepare to have some of my friends over to watch the season finale of The Pit while we were going to wine taste for my friend's upcoming wedding. It was a lot of fun, but that's why I couldn't finish. So that's gonna be the goal today. Happy Friday. It's 9 in the morning. I woke up at 6 planning to go to the gym, but my period, since I have endometriosis, was not having it. I did still get dressed for the gym and then I was like, never mind. So for those 2 hours in the morning, I actually got to do some writing for my next fantasy comic project. So I definitely feel like I've been productive and I'm definitely gonna finish that panel today. I'm wearing a headband today, which makes me look like an egghead. This is where I left off. I was working on the fire. I definitely need to add more people to make it feel jolly. I think I'll be able to do that over here. And then I'm missing 2 more banner hangings here. And I think that should do the trick with making this feel festive. We're going to put a 1-hour timer. I've got some tea and we're ready to go. All done. And right at the 1 hour mark too. So with that page done, I'm gonna call it for the vlog. Thank you for writing along with me on this very challenging page. It was a struggle. I am feeling so relieved that it is done and excited to finally jump into actual scenes with characters talking. I just realized I forgot to draw the clouds in that last panel. I'm still gonna call it. If you'd like to see the final panels, you can see it on my Patreon. It's only $1 a month, and I will be posting this as well as every other comic page that I finish drawing and editing. It'll be all up on Patreon, so you can read it there. I'm gonna go eat something and start editing this video. As for chapter 4, that leaves me with 14 pages left to draw. I will continue to vlog and post them on Patreon, so thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!